What's your name? What's your name? Okay, I got your name. Sorry, I didn't add you. So, by tomorrow you will get all. So, where we are in the master class, so we discussed about carrier transport, right? So, we said that we somehow discussed about extrinsic semiconductor, right? We found out the carrier concentration, and we said that for an extrinsic semiconductor, the formula changes, right? So, I will give you a simple analogy to have a feel for that, right? Suppose this is a bottle, right? We have a water up to this level. Suppose for this level. Now this bottle is at absolute zero. Okay. So my formula level lies here. Okay. Probability of finding water above this level is 0. Probability of finding water below this is 1. Right. Suppose I add some more water. Water is electron and air is cold. Right. Suppose I add some more electron, more water. So my formula level moves upward. Fine. Okay. So it goes to this point. Okay. The same thing happens when you add some electron or pentavalent impurity to the semiconductor. Right. The formula level goes up. This, and we are assuming till now is that the formula level, the temperature is absolute 0. Right. For this example. Right. Okay. So if you remove some water, then your formula level goes down. Right. Okay. Now in absolute 0, the probability of finding water above this level is 0 and below this level is 1. Now I shake it. Normal vibration. Right. Okay. So see, my formula level lies there, but I have a probability of getting water above this formula level. Right. That is what happened exactly. If I shake it more vigorously, then I have more probability of getting water here. I have a chance of getting water here. Right. You have a feel for that intuitive feel. Right? What happens? Right? When the temperature increases, it vibrates. That's why formification. Previously, it's a flat surface. Right? When it shakes, it has a curve like the formal function. Right? You have the probability of finding water above the formula level and below the formula level. Right? So the number carrier concentration depends upon the where the formula level lies. You have a chance that your formula level may enter into the conduction band if you have a very high doping. Okay. But we assume dilute approximation. What it says, the impurity you are adding is very less than the atomic concentration of silicon, right? If you assume the dilute approximation, what happens? A discrete energy level is created within the band gap, right? So from that discrete energy level, electron moves to the conduction band, and the difference between that energy band and the conduction band is very low. So at a room temperature, we have a chance that more number of electrons will be in the conduction band. Over the valence band, we have less number of electrons. Right? Then we discuss about transport. Right? As I said, we have two phenomena. We have three phenomena. One is called as diffusion. One is called as drift. One is called as thermal diffusion. Right? Suppose, for example, if you have a semiconductor, right, and the temperature at both the end of the semiconductor is different. Right? Here the temperature is maximum, here the low, minimum temperature. So they have a temperature gradient. Okay, for that you have motion also. But we normally neglect this type of carrier transport. Generally, we have two types of carrier transport. One is called as drift, one is called as diffusion. As I said, if you have a sweet box and flies are over the sweet box, you bring another sweet box. Okay, the flies will distribute over the two sweet box. Right? That is called as a diffusion. Right? Now move the sweet box, the flies will follow the sweet box, that is called as a drift. Right? So we discuss about drift. Drift depends upon the electric field you apply. Right? So what happens when you apply the electric field? The electrons, for example, we consider about electrons, the same principle applies for the holes. Right? They have different effective mass. So they, when you apply electric field, so your electrons get accelerated. Right? When it gets accelerated, its velocity increases. It starts with 0 and its velocity increases, right? But when the velocity increases, it collides with another electrons, right? So again, its total energy is given to another particle and total energy becomes 0. So if half mv square becomes 0, then velocity again becomes 0. Again it gets accelerated, again it collides, and this collision process continues. And during all this collision process, the electron get an average velocity, right? That is superimposed over the thermal velocity. Right? We have a random motion over which we have a directed motion is superimposed over a random motion, right? So we have a net motion. Okay. So and your drift velocity is directly proportional to your electric field, and drift velocity is related through a proportionality constant called as mobility. Right? For drift velocity, we also have a current density called as drift current density. For the electron, we have a current density. For holes, we have a current density, and the current density is given by the expression charge into concentration into mobility into electric field. Q N mu n into E. Right? Okay. Similar principle, same principle applies for holes. For holes, we have also a current density, and this is equal to Q P mu P into E. Right? Okay. So both the current density are in the same direction. As the electrons are moving in the opposite direction to the electric field, but the negative sign is get balanced by the charge of electron, which is negative. Right? So we have a total drift current density, which is given by a summation of these two current densities, right? Q mu n n E plus Q P mu P into E, right? Fine. So now we have to consider how this mobility varies, right? See, diffusion is a, since we will go, I mean, we will discuss in detail about the diffusion, but diffusion is a process where the particle moves from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. And the velocity with which the particle moves depends upon the gradient of concentration. If the gradient, I mean, here the concentration is very high and here the concentration will be very low, then the particle will move very quickly to the lower concentration. If somehow it's, it's related, it's not that much of high, the gradient will be very small and the particle will move with a slower velocity. Okay, so the drift velocity is also proportional to the concentration gradient. We will go through the expression, don't worry, just listen. Your diffusion velocity is also diffusion current density is also proportional to the concentration gradient through a constant called as diffusion coefficient. Right? We will go through that. Okay. So we have two constants. One is mobility, which characterize drift current. One is diffusion coefficient, which characterize diffusion current. Right? So we have to find out how these coefficients are going to behave with the temperature, right? Or the process parameter. Right? So first we discuss about mobility, right? And this we don't think that this mobility and diffusion are two different parameters. They are interrelated. Okay, we have a relation called Einstein relation. We derive the Einstein relation, where it says that mobility by diffusion coefficient by mobility is equal to kT by Q. KT by Q is a constant at a particular temperature, right? So there is a relationship between mobility and diffusion coefficient, right? So if we know the property of mobility, then we can characterize diffusion coefficient. Okay, there is no need to study individual. I mean, they are not different phenomena, right? They are interrelated. Okay, and the interrelation is somewhat complex, and it is easy to characterize mobility. That's why we study about the mobility, how it varies with the temperature, how it affects the current density, and we just multiply the kT by Q terms to get the diffusion coefficient. Right? What we have discussed, mobility depends upon the scattering. Right? We have how many types of scattering? Three types of scattering. One is called as
phonon.
One is phonon scattering, one is ionized impurity scattering, one is called as carrier-carrier scattering. Right? We are neglecting carrier-carrier scattering, right? Because when an electron counts the vicinity of a hole, the chances of scattering, recombination is more than chance of scattering, right? Recombination and scattering is different phenomena, right? In a recombination, the electron hole pair recombine and generate energy, may be given as a photon, or to a photon, or to another particle, right? So, but in scattering, what happens? As we say, it's an action at a distance. Sorry. Okay. So when the particle moves, hole has a positive charge, electron has a negative charge. So when it moves in the vicinity of the holes, it will get repelled or get attracted, and the motion changes. Right. Okay. So the probability of recombination is more than scattering. So we are neglecting carrier-carrier scattering. So two major type of scattering. One is called as ionized impurity scattering, and one is called as a phonon scattering. So we discussed that as the temperature increases, the number of phonons increases. Right? As the temperature increases, the lattice vibrates more vigorously. So as the lattice vibrates more vigorously, we have more number of phonons. If we have a more number of phonons, then the chance of scattering will be more. Right? Okay, the mean time between the collision will be less. So the mobility will be, how mobility is related to the mean time between the collision?
1 by T power 3 by 2.
You derive a relation, right?
Mu is proportional to 1 by T power 3 by 2.
That's temperature. I'm saying that what is the relationship between mobility and the mean free time between the collision? Tau C. Directly proportional, right? So, as the number of phonon increases, right, the scattering process increases. So, the mean time between the collision get reduced, right? So, mobility gets reduced. Okay. So, the relationship of mobility with the temperature is an inverse relationship, and mu is mobility is proportional to T to the power minus 3 by 2. Okay. So, in an ionized impurity scattering, okay, in ionized impurity scattering, what happens when you add a pentavalent impurity? Once if the phosphorus atom gave on one electron to the conduction band, it is called as an ionized impurity atom. Okay, it has a charge of positive charge. Okay, P plus. Okay, when an electron comes in the vicinity of this atom, they get scattered, but there is no chance of recombination. There is a probability, but they get scattered. They get scattered when they come in the vicinity of phosphorus atom, right? So, what is the relationship of mobility due to ionized impurity scattering? So, if the the velocity of electrons depend upon the temperature, right? T by 2 kT, right? If the temperature is very high, right? So the particle have a larger velocity. So, okay. So it will get a less time to interact with the phosphorus atom, right? You have to go through all this transaction accurately. This is the phosphorus atom. Okay, so suppose which electron, E1 or E2, which has larger velocity? E2. Okay, so E2 has a larger velocity, so it spends less time within the vicinity of P plus atom. So it will get scattered less, right? So as the temperature increases, right? So the velocity increases, and the electrons spend less time within the vicinity of ionized impurity atom. So there is a less probability of scattering. Okay, if there is a less probability of scattering, then the mean time between the collision increases, right? So the mobility increases. So it has a direct proportionality relationship with the temperature. We call it mobility is proportional to T to the power 3 by 2, right? And it also depend upon mobility also depend upon the number of phosphorus atom, right? What is the number of phosphorus atom or the dopant concentration it depend upon. So it is if the number of phosphorus atom or dopant atoms are more, then the chances of scattering will be more. So the mean time between the collision will be less, so mobility will be less. So we say that for ionized impurity scattering, mu Ci is proportional to e to the power 3 by 2 divided by n d plus na minus. Okay. If you have, you are adding a pentavalent impurity, forget about this. Only Na plus, right? If you are adding a trivalent impurity, forget about this. You have only acceptor atoms. If you are adding both pentavalent and trivalent, you will get a term like this, right? And these mobilities are related, by expression 1 by mu, total mobility is equal to 1 by mu, I due to impurity ionized scattering, and 1 by mu P, phonon scattering, right?
So when we are adding both pentavalent and trivalent, and if the pentavalent doping is more, then can we safely ignore the other term while calculations?
It depends upon the concentration, but the nature of the device depends upon the which is dominant, right? If ND is more, right, you can say it is an N type of device, semiconductor. If
depending on the type of the
semiconductor, okay, it's called as a P type of semiconductor. If both the concentration are same, you can only call it as an intrinsic semiconductor, but it is not a pure semiconductor.
So now we will plot this mobility, right?
For an extrinsic semiconductor, all the carrier concentration varies. Right? This is the way the carrier concentration varies. Okay. So this is maximum number of donor impurity ND. Okay. After intrinsic temperature TI. Okay. This is temperature. This is a carrier concentration, right? Okay. After intrinsic temperature, the device is going to behave like an intrinsic semiconductor. Okay. Right. This is here called as an extrinsic range. We have discussed about it, and within this range of temperature, the device is going to behave as an extrinsic semiconductor, right? And beyond intrinsic temperature, your device is going to behave as an intrinsic semiconductor. Okay. As the temperature is very high, so thermal energy will be more. So more number of electron will go from the valency band to the conduction band, and this number of electron dominates over ND, right? Okay. So if you add total electron concentration is ND. Right? Electron concentration is N, which are contributed by thermally, plus ND number of electrons concentrated given by this dominant, pentavalent impurity, phosphorus impurity you are adding. Right? What will be the whole concentration will be PT. Right? Okay? And these are thermally generated carriers, and these are created by the doped material, right? Doped atoms, right? So when as the temperature increases, this number goes on increasing. So at a certain temperature after TA, these numbers, because these numbers are always equal, right? Okay? Because thermally generated carrier, whatever the thermally generated carrier in a conduction band, you have same number of carrier in a valency band, right? So when these terms dominate and they go a very high value, okay, we can neglect this term, right? It is more than this ND value. Now your device behaves like an intrinsic semiconductor, right? So your number of electron is a number of holes. For example, it is up to 10 to the power 10. Okay, if it goes up to 10 to the power 20, then we can neglect this term. Right? 10 to the power 20 plus 10 to the power 10 is almost equal to 10 to the power 20. Right? This is called as an intrinsic range. Right? So how the mobility varies? So we can say current density J is equal to Q mu n into E, right? Q is fixed, E is fixed. Is it visible? Right. So my current density is equal to n mu n E Q. Right. Okay. So your current density is going to depend upon n and mu n, right? Because if you are applying a fixed electric field and your charge is constant, so the current density is going to depend upon this term, right? And this is the concentration curve, right? So how my now I have to look at how this mobility is going to vary. Okay, so we have seen that this is the axis, this is the axis, right? Suppose, and this is t to the power 3 by 2. This is t to the power minus 3 by 2. Fine? Agree? So if I plot my mobility, so at a low temperature, your ionized impurity scattering is dominated, right? Okay. So at a higher temperature, okay, the phonon scattering is dominated. Because at the lower temperature, vibration, okay, the number of phonons are less, so ionized impurity scattering is dominated, right? At a higher temperature, your phonon scattering is dominated. So at higher temperature, they will follow this curve, e to the power minus 3 by 2. Okay. At lower temperature, they will follow this curve, right? Okay. So how my mobility curve will be? Mobility curve will. So my mobility curve will be somewhat like this. Okay. Fine. Okay. So let's go into one. We have a 3 by 3 relationship like this. Like this. We have a curve like this. Okay. This is the mobility curve. This is t to the power 3 by 2. This is t to the power minus 3 by 2. Right? So now, what is the curve for my j? Just the multiplication of this two term. Okay, this two term. This term will add a extra factor. That's fine. But the multiplication of this term. Okay. So my j will be something like. It is not exactly that follow here. Okay, it follows this characteristic, right? So my j curve will be like this.
It will be more up, right?
It will be more up.
It will be
It will be more up, but here it's flat. Within extrinsic range, within extrinsic range, my concentration is, this curve is flat.
Yeah.
But for current density, you will not get a flat curve. It will be up above this curve because you are multiplying both the terms, right? And just having a pictorial representation. Okay. So this my current density. It means that my current density is not fixed within an extrinsic range, right? Within an extrinsic range, what you are assuming, my electrons are dominant carriers, right? And electron concentration is given by this ND term, right? It indicates that the current density is still depend upon the mobility. So as the temperature varies, okay, for example, within the extrinsic range, within this range, okay, my carrier concentration is going to be fixed, right? Electron concentration is going to be fixed ND, right? So N term is fixed. So the current density variation in the extrinsic range is only due to mobility, right? Okay, this is a call for so you have calculated all this current density expression, right? So now let's look at into carrier diffusion, right? We have the drift current density. Now we look at carrier diffusions, right? As I said, it is a process which the particle flow from region of high concentration towards the region of low concentration. So electron concentration varies in in a device is a three-dimensional structure, right? Or if you take a ball, just like a square size, it's a two-dimensional structure. But we are deriving all these expressions for one-dimensional structures, right? So and we are one another assumption is that our temperature is uniform, right? Throughout the semiconductor, our temperature is uniform. There will be no temperature gradients. Okay. So if there is a temperature gradient, there is a chance of carrier movement. Right? So we are assuming that the hotter end the carriers are moving faster, at the cooler end the carrier are moving less thermal velocity. So there is a chance of carrier motion. Right? So we are assuming that our semiconductor is entirely not in thermal equilibrium, uniform temperature. Right?
What's the difference between the two? Thermal equilibrium and what is the same? Thermal equilibrium and uniform temperature.
Here, no. The difference is that you are giving a gradient, right? Okay. You are giving a concentration gradient. But at thermal equilibrium, that means you don't have any concentration gradient. Here you have a net motion, right? Due to the difference in concentration. So it's not in thermal equilibrium.
So you're saying we just ignore this. It happens, but we ignore it. This gradient in temperature.
No. We are saying that at a room temperature, if I take a semiconductor device like this,
right.
okay, Here the temperature is uniform now.
Okay.
Right? Everywhere temperature is uniform. I am not heating this end and cooling this end. Right? If I am not injecting some extra carrier here, now suppose this is a thermal equilibrium. Right? If I inject some extra carrier here by any means, suppose I shine light here. So if I shine light is in this end, we will have more number of carrier in this end.
Right.
So okay, you have more number of electron in this end, you have less number of electron in this end. So there is a concentration gradient and electrons start moving in this direction. But this is not in a thermal equilibrium. But the temperature is uniform throughout the system. Right? Temperature is uniform. Right? Thermal equilibrium is different. Thermal equilibrium means this is dynamic equilibrium, you have random motion, but net motion is zero.
Okay.
When you have some directed motion, you are called as quasi-equilibrium. You can say this is a quasi-equilibrium. Right? Temperature is uniform, but you have a net motion, you have a net directed motion. So you can call it as a quasi-equilibrium state. Right?
So even without application of any electric field, you are getting a quasi-equilibrium state because of the temperature.
If you hit one end, if you are trying to, your temperature at this end is more than this end, it's not in thermal equilibrium. Okay, there is a chance of carrier transport. Okay, so because the reason is that if the temperature at this end is very high, the thermal velocity of these electrons are very high and these electrons are very low. So there is a chance that scattering is more in this part and scattering is less in this part. So there is a chance that there will be motion of electron from this end to that end. Right? How a thermocouple works. Okay, it's the same principle. That's in case of metal, it's in case of semiconductors.
So I said in the last class that between the two successive collision we have a time called as a mean free time between the collision, and the distance traveled by the particle is called as a mean free path, right? So
Switch it off. I don't know. I press it, so please help. So is it visible in this side or that side?
No, you don't use red color, use blue and red.
That's not possible.